Welcome back to the Crypto Picture channel, where I help you see crypto through a clear lens. I've been getting a lot of questions about why I put so much weight on the parabolic uptrend line. Today I will go into that, so if that sounds interesting to you, please like and subscribe on the way in. And with that being said, let's jump right into the content. So the reason I put so much weight onto the parabolic uptrend line is simply because of history. Every time we've been in one of these parabolic uptrend lines, we have seen significant sell-offs once broken. So this isn't simply a line in the sand, like one indicator or one line to essentially negate everything, negate a bull market. I mean, there is other criteria that goes along with this technical pattern or technical indicator. So we do want to take into consideration a few different things. Based on this, every time we've seen a parabolic uptrend line and it has been broken, especially on a weekly time frame. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to sell the top, right? In this scenario, you did get out pretty close to a top, which is fantastic. But the chances of that happening repeatedly are very, very far and between. So if we are to just take history and learn from history and base our projections on history, then we can get a slight idea of where is a time that we should not be invested in the market. Now, does this mean you have to go all out or all in? No. If you're substantially in profit, then there should be no reason that you need to go all out per se. And I don't think I would ever sell all of my Bitcoin, not only from a tax perspective, but also just from a fundamental perspective. I think that over time, Bitcoin will continue to increase in value. So what's the point of selling out of all of it? What I will do is sell enough so I can live a happy and fruitful life and enjoy my day to day. Now, that doesn't involve me selling everything. Can we simply just look at this trend line and say, okay, once this breaks, that's it, I'm gone, I'm out? No, we can look at another thing as well, which is the weekly structure. As I said before, I mean, we can get daily closes below this parabolic uptrend line, and I'm not going to freak out. What I would like to see in a case where I do sell, and I know it seems like a pretty big gap, what I would like to see is, first of all, weekly candles closing below this parabolic uptrend line, as well as a break of weekly structure. Now, because Bitcoin is in a pretty parabolic uptrend at the moment, there's two ways to look at this. And one I've outlined in previous videos is around that $51,000 level. That would be the first break of structure on a weekly uptrend, in my opinion. And the ultimate break of weekly structure would be about 45,000. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to go bearish or we're going to go below here. I'm just showing you guys so you have an idea of what I look for and why I don't really stress out with this day-to-day activities. I still believe and I still will trade with a bullish bias as long as we're maintaining levels above this parabolic uptrend line. Now, if we go back to 2017, we do see a similar structure being played out with really no weekly closes below this level. Sure, did we get a little bit of a wick underneath but quickly recover? Absolutely, and that's fine. Now, I don't think that this line or this trend line here is as parabolic or has lasted as long as this one. So for this one, it is a little bit more similar to what we've seen in 2013, 2 times over actually, and you could consider this one macro cycle with a mini bear cycle in the middle of a macro bull market. Another thing to take into consideration when looking at the macro is the fact that we do see time consistently getting longer from our market cycle bottom, our absolute bottom, which is back here in November 2011. Then we had our macro cycle bottom in January 2015, and then again here in December 2018. We did see an extension from bear market low to bull market high from this macro cycle, even taking into consideration a double peak, and we did see an extension in 2017 from macro low to macro high. Now the question is are we going to see an extension here? Do I think it would be the same difference? Probably not. Based on this, I have just taken a stretch from what we did in the last bull market. That doesn't mean that it has to last as long or as short, but that would put us somewhere in November of 21. But for me, the criteria that I'm looking at is a break of this parabolic uptrend line, a break of weekly structure, and I am looking at market Cipher to determine when could possibly be the best time to exit the market. Now, what we have seen on market Cipher is when we see a monthly sell, it has usually signified, or based on what we've seen here, it has signified a time to sell. Now, if you take into consideration the other two metrics or indicators that I just spoke about, that would fall in line with what we would not want to see and what we would want to see if we were looking to take substantial profits or sell out of a position. So I just wanted to do a little bit of a follow-up on this, because I did get somebody that was really interested in my macro cycle top, and I was using my premium headphones and the audio was crap. It was like one of my first videos, and I should have proof checked it, but it is what it is. I did want to do a little bit of a follow-up to this. If you are interested in seeing the other one, it was literally one of the first videos I ever posted. It's a little bit embarrassing because the audio is crap, but it's so valuable. And what I did say back there when we were at about a $38,000 Bitcoin is that I'm still macro bullish and I'm holding all of my positions. And here we are almost 100% later at $60,000. This works, and I'm going to continue to follow this. If you guys have other strategies that work for you, by all means continue to use your strategies that work for you. I just want to give you a little bit of a tip, an insight into what I'm looking at and what I tend to do in parabolic uptrends like this. We can move right into the Bitcoin dominance. Another thing that we do not see when we're looking at a macro top, we do not see a continuation on market Cipher, indicating that we have more time to go to the downside. I would assume that we would see kind of a curvature here and a little bit of a buyback. If we look on the bi-weekly, we saw multiple buy areas back here, but I think this was a little bit of a nuance considering that altcoins weren't really anything back then. They had no tech, no nothing. Barely anybody was buying them. Everybody thought the altcoins were a scam until 2017, which there were a lot of scams. Nobody's saying that there wasn't, but there was some gems to be found in the rubble. Now we're seeing a lot more market structure with the maturity of this market. So I do not think that a break of support of this nature and this significance is going to be in line with a macro market top. Now, when we start getting down to about the 50% level, then I could start being a little bit more open-minded to the fact that we would be at a market cycle top. But for right now, I am anticipating a continuation in this Bitcoin dominance to the downside, and I do continue with the bullish bias towards altcoins. And this has been my thesis for the last ever since I started on YouTube, and previous to that, you can go watch my previous videos and see if anything has changed. Now, one interesting thing that we are seeing for the Bitcoin price is on CME futures, we are seeing this ascending triangle, and it does look quite healthy. We got 1-2 touch points on the top, and we have 1-2 touch points on the bottom, so it is a confirmed pattern. We'll have to see what happens here. So if this pattern was to play out, it doesn't necessarily need to go back to the bottom of the pattern since we already have 2 touch points, but we could get a 3rd touch point and Bitcoin could move sideways for about another week or so and find a local bottom around 55. But with this pattern, if we were to play this, I think 54.1 would be pretty close to the lowest that we're going to go in price. There's a 68% chance to the break for the upside and a 32% chance that we break to the downside. I'll continue to monitor this and see what's happening. But again, with Bitcoin dominance breaking down, I do not think we're at a macro market cycle top until proven otherwise. I'm going to continue with the thesis that's been working for me since 2018 and has substantially allowed me to increase my portfolio. Now, looking at the Ethereum Bitcoin price, one thing that's very interesting here is that we are seeing what could be and what looks like a bottom, right, in the price of Ethereum. Now, we could look at this in two ways. So one way, is this an ascending triangle? We did overshoot a little bit here, but if we were looking at it as an ascending triangle, it would be a huge ascending triangle. I do like it a little bit more as the cup and handle with a false breakout and come back to the mean to fake people out, and then a continuation. We'll have to see how it plays out, but this does have a target of roughly 0.05 of a Bitcoin. So I am going to continue to monitor that, and it does look very good here based on my macro trend line that's been working out pretty much since May 11th, 2020. So I have been looking at this. This was the first connection that I made from a line progressing forward, and we did cycle out of some Bitcoin into some Ethereum at the low here. And I did take a little bit of profit on my trading account on my altcoins when we were at this macro cycle top. So again, here I am liking this. On Market Cipher, we do have anchor wave and a trigger wave. They're pretty small in comparison with this past anchor wave and trigger wave that we had over here. So the confirmation of this pattern gave us about a 90% gain. The anchor wave, the trigger wave with a 90% follow through. This one is much smaller. It's in the green already. There's not so much sell pressure here. This was signifying a market bottom, especially with the snake eyes here. It is a little bit smaller, right? So I'm not expecting as explosive of a move, but even if we were to anticipate a 50% move from the top of this pattern, just half of what we got over there, 45%, that would put us right in that targeted range. Now, I don't really think we would stop here. I think this would really be our next stop. And I think we would see significant resistance at the 0.055 level in our Bitcoin comparative. There's a lot of reasons to think that we would see a lot of rejection in this area or resistance. We could continue higher, but that's yet to be seen. I wanted to primarily leave this about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Actually, one other thing, let's look at the daily chart here. So Ethereum came back and perfectly retested the previous all-time high from February of this year. We got a nice bullish bounce off of this level. Again, I did mention that we could go through some consolidation here, so we'll have to see how long that is going to last for. On Market Cipher, it is trying to put in a buy signal here, but we'll have to see if we get follow through here. If Bitcoin and Ethereum do consolidate here, we may see some breakouts with the altcoins. I mean, EGLD has been breaking out quite nicely, currently up about 41% for my premium service in the group. So I'll have to see how that continues. But that's all I have for today, guys. So please check out the Discord link down below in the description. And until next video, take care.